I met this super beautiful lady the other day. I was up on the trail and she was hiking and I passed her. And then later I was hanging out and she came up and we hiked for a little bit together and we talked. Really pretty. And she and I talked for a little bit and she was talking about the idea that things happen for a reason. And that's her new tip, is this idea that things happen for a reason. And she asked my opinion, and for the most part I do agree with that. I'm always the devil's advocate, so I had to say I think sometimes there are accidents, but generally speaking, I think things happen for a reason. And the other day, I had some, I wouldn't call myself a psychic, but I get intuitive advice, like heads ups on things coming, things like that. And so the other day I had this heads up about my Cadillac and that I should just get rid of it. It's a long story why I have a Cadillac. It's actually maybe kind of worth listening to, but another time. Anyway, so I started looking on Craigslist and I found the Subaru that I thought would be good, and it had been on there a few days, and then the next day they lowered the price and sold it. I was like, ooh. So then I drove home last night, and one block from my house, my power steering went out, and I didn't know what was going on, so I stopped it, and it started right back up. I thought maybe it had died, but no, sure enough, it ultimately was the belt. It had come off, is what it was. But I didn't know, and I parked the car just like, oh my gosh. Anyway, so I found a Ford Taurus that I thought would be good. I've had good luck with Tauruses before. As long as they're not leaking anything, they just go and go and go and go. And I just put $700 in this Cadillac, and it was nothing. And plus the battery, plus now today I got it fixed this morning. I went. Oh, that's what I'm getting at. Okay, so this morning I wake up. I had kind of a half dream state thing. I think it's just the belt. So I go out, and sure enough, it's just the belt. But it was a pulley that had worn out its bearing. And it's not the alternator. It's not a water pump. It's just a pulley. It just held a space for the serpentine belt to go around. So I call up O'Reilly's and I talk to this lady. And I say, hey, I've got this pulley problem. Do you have the pulley, you know? Because sometimes they have to order them from other stores, and it's morning, I want to go to work. Well, you have to buy the whole tensioner setup. I said, well, it's not the tensioner. It's just a pulley. Well, there's like 6 pulleys. I know this one's just attached to the engine block. Well, they're all attached to something. I said, okay, I get frustrated when people are like crazy, and sometimes I'm the crazy one. I just don't realize it. So I know enough to say, okay, I'm ending this conversation before I offend you with my like fury, because I can only take like calling a block so many times before somebody like, it's not a sphere, it's a block. You know. Anyway, so I go up there. My roommate has a fucking crazy friend here. Let's just leave it at that. He had to run an errand with him, take him somewhere and drop him off. And he came back. And I was going to drive my scooter to work, but the battery wasn't, I hadn't started it for a couple months. I just got the thing. And long story short, it wasn't going to take me to work today. But I thought it might take me up to the parts store. It didn't. So my roommate came back and picked me up, took me up there. And I get there, and the lady knew me from the phone conversation. Okay, yeah, pulley, Cadillac DeVille. And I show it to her because I had pulled it off. And it was a bolt with a spacer nut that was about that thick. It was like basically a glorified washer that held it out just the right amount. Well, she gets up on the stepladder and loses that bolt thing. It hits the floor and rolls, and we don't know where it's at. So I'm at O'Reilly's on my hands and knees, pulling dust out from underneath their shelving, looking for this thing. Because it's not one of those things where you can just sort of put something else there. It's a specific size, and it fits the bearing specifically. The only way you can get another one is from a junkyard or from GM. They don't carry them. It doesn't come with the bearing, the pulley. But like, so I'm standing there, and she's looking at things. She's like, she has a picture of the tensioner on the screen. She's like, it's this part right here. I'm like, no! I told you this on the phone. It's not part of the tension. There's another guy standing there. He's the idle pulley. I was like, yeah, okay, well, I don't know. I was like, you pull up a picture on the screen, I'll point to it. And pulls up a picture, and it says IDL. I'm like, that. And she's like, oh, that's the idle lower pulley. I'm like, ugh. And then there's a guy in line who says, is it part of the tensioner? As this is all going on, I'm like, that's when I was like, ah! No! How many times do I have to say this? Stop making me repeat myself. I mean, if I repeat myself once or twice, I get it. Okay, people, whatever. But like after 3 or 4 times, it's like, just stop. So I kind of was the crazy man for a minute. No, I mean, I didn't freak out. I was kind of like that, and then I realized, okay, Josh, check yourself, because guess what? This is the great mystery. We're swimming in God's mind, and you may as well be a pleasurable element. Like, so at this point, the lady's kind of upset. She clearly started her day not right, and within that, I said, oh, I really appreciate your time. And she's like, well, if you can go somewhere else or something. I was like, huh? She's like, was that sarcastic? Because, I mean, I was a little upset before that. I was like, no, I'm serious. Heck of a way to start your day. Thanks. I mean, thanks for your time. I appreciate you. And so she felt a little more endeared, and like it softened the situation some. Still, for like 45 minutes, I was looking for this thing. Finally, I was like, okay, maybe it's just somewhere obvious. That's what I was thinking, So I move a cart, and then look at this grate, and somebody else had seen it bounce, thankfully, because we had a general direction it went. And there was a grate, like a shelving grate, and it had situated itself in it that it looked like it was maybe part of the grate. So I found out, here it is. She ended up giving me the part, and she was at the end there, as like in the sort of her apologizing, she kind of teared up a little bit, apologized, and said, no, it's my fault. So I was like, don't worry about it, I think everything happens for a reason. I think some big cosmic calamity was probably averted because of this. I thanked her and stuff like that. And she gave me the part for free, which was a little bonus, like a $20 thing. But like, I'm so quick to anger. I think it's from my father, but I'm sure it's from his father's father's father. You know what I mean? It's a legacy thing. Back around the turn of the 19th to the 20th centuries, they had like body type. You could know a person's personality by their body type. And, I'm skeptical with such things. But I looked, I was like, oh yeah, that's absolutely me. The skinny, sinewy type. The quick to anger, but just immediate forgiveness, I mean, I blow up, but it's like it's just like a cloud in the sky. I don't really hang on to it. But people who receive that fury sometimes are deeply offended, and it's not just like a whatever kind of thing for them. They're actually they take offense. So I have to be really judicious. I have to be careful. And I think it was at least a 75% success, because I literally was sitting on a box of like some sort of oil absorber, like with my eyes closed, feeling happy and zen. Like, it's small stuff. I mean, at this point, I was not going to be to work on time, and I was okay with it. But it all worked out. I got home, and it was relatively easy to put on. Put on the belt, put on the pulley, put on the belt. My car started right up. I think I might have blown the starter in my scooter, though. Oh, man. Because I had it hooked up to the battery charger, and like I had kind of like worn out the battery trying to start it. It just didn't have quite enough juice to kick it, because it hadn't been started in a minute. It's a good scooter. It's a Honda. It has under 300 miles even. It's an older one, but low miles. And so with the charger on, okay, good. I shut it down, let it charge a little longer, and then I unhooked the charger and tried to start it, and it was like, I hooked the charger back up, and it wouldn't even, like, nothing. It wouldn't roar. It was just, what? Push the start button, nothing. I might have blown that starter, which is a bummer, because that scooter is like nice. Like literally 240 miles, 91. And I think it's actually the actual miles, because the guy I got it from, they never drove it any more than around the block. And the lady they got it from, I think may have crashed it, like laid it down. It had just a little scuff on it, Nothing. So I think maybe the person was too scared to really ride it. It's cool, you know. It's at 80cc, so it'll get up to 40 no problem, and they let people drive them on the streets here. Things happen for a reason, and so whether that reason was to test my sanity, I think I passed the test today. I passed the test. I became comfortably, optimistically comfortable to be around. That lady, she was like, "Yeah, if you if you had freaked out, I would have lost my shit and then probably lost my job. Thanks," she said. She's like, "Oh, good," because like if she had actually lost her job over that, and I would have been haunted by that for years. You know, sometimes just 20 extra seconds can save you years of remorse. Like just like I've gotten so I say to myself, Josh, you always have 20% more time than you think for people. Um, the fact is, I'm blessed. You know, I'm a smart, clever person. And I'm quick. I get things usually before they happen. Like, I see it coming. I understand. I'm positioned, you know. And most people aren't like that. And it's not really for me to say that they should be like that. You know, part of me is just my perceptive nature. I'm also reasonably intelligent. And I'm always kind of aware. And not everybody is, you know. A lot of people are much more expert at, you know, emotional well-being than me. I mean, we all have our, our strengths, and mine just happens to be, you know, being perceptive and anticipating circumstances. So, so I've learned not to not to care too much, you know. But sometimes it is important to warn people. Like if you see something, it's a situation that someone's going to, you know, it's not telling people what to do. It's not backseat driving. It's like literally, hey, heads up, this is coming. You know, if 1 out of 10 people was offended that I tipped them off, well, then that's okay. I don't know. What the hell? No one's perfect. Life isn't perfect. Life is not perfect. We do not live in Euclid's dream. We live in the real fractalized world. It is beautiful. We're lucky to be here. Thank you.